Hey everyone, and welcome to episode 3 of Hops and Dragons. Today's episode, we're going to learn how to save from death, talk about how to make use of conditions in your game, and we have some news so cool, we had to make an item to help us look the part.
But first, we drink.
Oh no.
This has been a competition between the two of us every time we go to open a new beer. So not only is our episode this week going to be incredibly exciting for other reasons, our episode this week, our sponsor this week, has a special release beer. So our sponsor this week is Nine Penny Brewing. They are located here in Newfoundland, out in CBS, for those of you that are local. And their beer that they've provided this week is a special release for Oktoberfest. Special Halloweeny October label. It is super crisp. So it is a Marzen. It's the Wisen Up Marzen, an Oktoberfest Lager. And I'm going to pour this up because I'm always thirsty when I do this.
Yeah. I think I poured mine with too much head.
It is a fairly heady beer, 100%.
I'm noticing that. Usually I always have a problem getting head on my beer. Not the case.
No comment.
No comment.
We did put the mature filter on this, right?
I'm pretty sure we did.
So the beer, as you can see, it is a dark malty beer. So you should like it, Tilly, because you certainly do like your darker beers. It is so it's the first lager that they've done, and it is what you do when you lager a beer is you essentially cold crash it and you bring it right down as close to zero as you can, and that just kind of brings everything out of out of suspension, and makes it just really clear and really crisp as well. The official description is that it is malt balanced, crisp finishing, and a German fest beer. The reason why it's called the Wisen Up Marzen, or technically Wiesen Up Marzen, if there's any German viewers in here.
But bumps.
What's that?
It's just a funny joke.
It's
Wisen Up Marzen.
Wisen Up, yeah. We had a German guy go into the bar once and be like, "Why? I don't get the joke," because it's pronounced Wiesen. So, but for anybody who's English speaking and reads it, it looks like Wisen. The reason why it's named this is because it was named after essentially one of the first Oktoberfests in Bavaria, Germany, and there was this huge ordeal that had to do with kings and princesses and queens and everything, and this huge celebration happened in this field, and it is called the now it's called colloquially the Marzen, or sorry, the Wiesen. Wiesen. Now I'm screwing up the pronunciation all over the place. So that's the reason why it's called that.
It's good.
It is super good. And also during the month or until it lasts, they actually have 1 liter pours just like a proper Oktoberfest.
Nice.
So, and you can buy the big huge steins as well. So
did you know how long this is going to be in stock?
Until it runs out.
Oh, cool.
They did a single batch, I think it is, so until it runs out.
Get it while it's cold.
It is super tasty because it is super crisp, but it's still malty. Usually those malty beers are a little bit rounder on the taste, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's our sponsor this week, Nine Penny Brewing out in CBS. Thank you for providing the beer for us for episode 3.
Ooh, delicious. Like, Paul, I don't know if we've missed a beer yet that I've been like, meh.
You haven't had a beer yet that you don't like.
That's true. It's a fair point. But, like, this stuff is good.
Yeah, it's essentially like, if anybody likes reds, it's kind of the cross between like a red and a blonde. So, so it's kind of ambery. I don't know if you can see the light or not, but.
Yeah, I can't see through my skull.
No, you can't. Everybody can see mine, though. All right, so that's our sponsor. You ready to move on to our next segment?
Roll some trinkets.
Roll some dice. That's what we're all here for.
I think this one's on me this time. Roll a good number, Paul.
Oh, yeah, I got it last time.
You can do this. You did. Like, this is making me nervous.
Dun, 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 dun,
So, like,
dun,
yeah,
dun,
I
dun,
guess
dun.
if anyone's new tonight, typically when you roll a character, it's a little lesser known rule of D&D. On page 160 of the player's handbook for everyone following along, every time you make a new character, you can make a roll for a trinket.
And
so
we're gonna head
gonna
over
do
there
that tonight and make up some story stuff and have a laugh.
The name of the beer, by the way, for anybody who didn't catch that, is a Weizen up Marzen. It is the Oktoberfest Lager.
That helps.
Just make sure that's up there. There you go. Product placement. All right, we're going to head over to our trusty Google Dice Roller.
Product in your face placement.
So for anybody that doesn't know, Google does have a dice roller. Just search dice roller. It's funny how simple that is. So in order for us to roll for a trinket, we had to roll a D100.
2d10s.
As great as this is, it does not have a D100.
Nope. 2d10s. First one's the double digits.
Cool. Oh, you know what I don't have?
I got it up.
I don't have the trinket. All right,
I
cool.
got it.
All right, you got me. All right, here we go. 1, 2, first one. 101.
I'll learn you yet. One of these days. That's an 11.
Yes. So an 11 is.
Oh, didn't we get an 11 last week?
Did we?
I think we did.
We
did get an 11 last week. What are the odds?
It was a. Do you want to roll again?
Yes.
All
do
right.
that again. We did an 11 last week.
Sounds good. 64.
64. 64 is a pyramid of sticky black incense that smells very bad.
Oh. Mr. Tilly.
I feel like this would be something for a warlock, perhaps. And it would be like some sort of like joke that your patron would want you to like burn to like pray to them or something. And like the gag would be you'd have to try to get as many people in the room with you as you're doing your prayers and light this stuff up and just like, oh no, man, you got to stick around. You don't want to piss off Oktoa or whatever.
Right. But you couldn't, the warlock wouldn't be able to tell anybody what they were doing. So he just thought they like farted or something.
Yeah, it'd just be a gag, right? Just a running gag. Yeah, that'd be funny to me.
I like it. I'm into it.
Wow.
Well done, sir.
Pyramid of sticky black incense that smells very bad. Number 64.
Number 64. Remember that if you roll it again. Very good. So our next segment is Rules You May Not Know for anybody that is new here. It is a segment where we go through some of the things that, just like it says, you may not know. And every single time we do this, I always say this foolish thing where it's this like rainbow thing that goes across, and we're gonna drop it into every video we put it on YouTube. But it's the rules you may not know.
Yeah.
So there's your transition.
Oh, it's so ridiculous.
So what's this week rule that we don't know?
So this week is probably a rule if you play D&D for a while, or especially 5th edition for a while. This is probably a rule you know. But if you're new, you might not. And it's something, I guess, if you make a character, you're attached to the character, you're going to worry about that character dying, because in D&D, characters die. So on page 197, for everyone following along at home with the player's handbooks, it talks about death saving throws. So whenever you start your turn with 0 hit points, you have to make a death saving throw. Basically, at the start of your turn, you just roll a d20. Before anything else happens, when your turn comes around initiative, you just roll a d20. If the roll is 10 or higher, so the odds are a little bit in your favor, you succeed. If it's a 1 to a 9, you fail. If you get 3 successes, your character stabilizes. They don't come back awake, but they're still alive. That's good. If you get 3 failures, your character dies, and that's generally frowned upon. So you want to avoid rolling less than 10. However, if you come back to life if you stabilize or you get any hit points at all, both those counts go to 0. So if you someone comes over and stabilizes you, but then something else comes and hits you again, you start back off at the beginning. The only little special rule to this, and this did come up in our home game, is if you roll a 1 or a 20. If you're lucky enough to roll a 1, or a 20, sorry. If you're lucky enough to roll a 20, you come back with 1 hit point, so you can stand up and continue on fighting like the badass you are. If you roll a 1, it counts as 2 death saves. And that's obviously not a good thing unless you really want to roll that backup character that you have already totally planned out.
Didn't we have 2 nat 1s on death saves in our home game?
I believe so. Sorry.
Was I one of them?
I believe you were. I think you made it, though.
I did. I've died 3 times. No, sorry, I'm on my 3rd life, but I've died 2 times in our home game.
You died 2 times.
Yeah.
Hey, it's not so bad. D&D, you make a new character, you roll on.
But I'm still on the same character because I was resurrected.
It's true. It's true.
And how do the rules work that you run for resurrections?
It's a homebrew rule. It's probably something we'll do in an episode later on. But I think I follow the Matt Mercer rules a little bit. So in D&D 5th edition, if you die, you're not dead forever necessarily. If you have the right character classes in your party, or your characters meet the right NPCs, there's raise dead spells, there's reincarnation spells that can bring you back to life. They're a bit more high level. They cost a fair amount of gold, or they cost 1,000 gold diamond. But you can come back. So what I do is, because that seems a little easy at higher levels, basically I set a DC chance on those at 8, and your party members can try to do something to reduce it by 2 each, down to a minimum of 2.
That your
but then
character
every time
would...
Yeah, so it's something like if you, God forbid, Paul Dirtle needs a resurrection spell, you might try to persuade him back with the promise of a new tasty brew at 9 penny, right? Something like that. And then, but every time you die going forward, your character dies going forward, that DC goes up by 2. So there's every time it's an incentive to not die, basically.
Well, it's diminishing returns on being rezzed.
Right.
But I can guarantee you that if I was on my last legs, if you poured a drop of ale in my mouth, I would probably come to.
Mm-hmm.
Don't try that in real life, please.
Yeah, no. D&D res only.
Very good. So that's the rules that you may not know, because you don't often die or be resurrected or anything in D&D. Usually you kind of want to spend your time battling and not lying on the ground being leaky. So our next section is a segment, again, for anybody that's new here, is a section for any DMs that want to give out some fun items, players that want to incorporate some items into their backstory. It's an opportunity for some role play. And this was a super cool looking one for the super cool news that we have tonight. So go ahead.
This useless item of the week, I think, actually might be useless. I think I finally did it after 3 weeks. Three episodes. This is episode 012. Yeah, so this is 4th episode. I think this one actually might be useless.
Mm-hmm.
They are the goggles of darker vision. This is my own personal creation. While wearing these goggles, bright light becomes dim light, and dim light becomes darkness, and darkness somehow becomes darker.
Darkness becomes darker. That's awesome. I think you. Nope. I got it.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
Come on, lay it on me.
Why do welders wear thick glasses?
Well, yeah, to block the brightness.
Yeah. So what if there's something that some monster that does like some sort of like solar thing that focuses light at everybody and it stuns everybody? And I think if I was DMing and a player had those on, I would be like, yeah, you take half damage, or you're immune to it, or something, depending on the situation.
I feel like I would probably you're probably right. If your character devoted themselves to wearing these sunglasses, for if common terminology here, sunglasses. Yeah, you'd probably give advantage on like a blindness condition DC save or something like that.
So we are 0 for 4.
Well, to be honest, I also had another idea too, because there's so many ancestries out there that have the sunlight sensitivity, like the kobolds or the drow elves,
Right.
uh, which is just such a bummer. Like who wants to have a character that, in daylight is always rolling at disadvantage, considering we usually play, even in the fictional world, in the daylight. So maybe this would be a way to kind of get around that, like a in-game item, just to say, yeah, you can ignore that sunlight sensitivity.
Fair enough. So it's useful.
Depending on your DM, but yeah.
And we
not 0 for 4. Okay.
And we do post all of these in our Discord channel as well. The Discord channel will be, in the doobly-doo for the YouTube video. We are going to be tweeting it out and everything as well. And something we'll get into in the news section as well is that we do have some chat commands as well. So if you hit a certain command, you will be able to see our Discord channel. We'll get into that a little bit later.
Sweet.
Next section.
The news. What news of the week, Sir Paul?
I was like, what news do we have? Right. First off, I'll touch on some of the industry news, the D&D news, and then we'll talk about Hops and Dragons news after.
Sweet.
So the actually, I'm gonna bring this up live on the fly here.
We're doing it live.
For those that watch Critical Role and are aware of it, I'm sure if you are here, you probably have heard of them. They have just set up a charitable foundation. I'm gonna try and haul this up real quick here. Do you remember what it's called?
Critical Role Foundation?
That's what I typed, but I misspelled critical, so we're in trouble here.
Hops and Dragons, good at D&D, not so good at spelling.
Not so good at spelling. We'll pop over here. So this is it. So yeah, so they set up this foundation. They are an official 501c3 nonprofit organization of Critical Role. That sounds like an American thing. We are Canadian, so we do not know what that means. But it's awesome. They're they've got such a huge following, and they're giving back. I think the pin tweet that they had there, this was just last week, on the 24th. And they are helping revive 2 Native youth and culture programs that have been negatively impacted by COVID-19.
Nice.
They also have an update there where they hit almost $100,000 raised in 24 hours, which is absolutely awesome. I mean, we always want to see people that have power do something good with it, right? So that was fairly big news in D&D world, D&D industry this week. Or last week, I guess it was 6 days ago.
Pay it forward, man.
Pay it forward 100%. Which also leads us into something that we want to do when we grow a little bit bigger. I'm sure you guys have seen in the chat every now and then. There's a bot that links out to our merch store. We do have some items on there. We are going to be adding more, but we'd love to get to a point where we are. Thanks for the sub.
Woo!
You're ruining
Callisto.
You're ruining the next part of the news for us. We thank you very much. We appreciate that. I'll explain what's going on there in a second for those of us that are new to the stream. But yeah, we do eventually want to take.
It's all right, Callisto. It's fine.
We do want to do a charitable donation where every a proceeds of every merch store sales go towards. We got a couple different organizations that we're looking at right now. One of them is Extra Life, I think it is. It's basically
a good one.
Yeah, so it's basically a bunch of it's an organization that through gaming and in the gaming industry donates to children's hospitals around the world. So we could essentially work with the children's hospital in our location, and so I think that's something that would fit really well. Another one that we talked about was the local, because we are also a gaming stream, as on the D&D side of it. But the other side is the hop side with the responsible alcohol consumption. So MAD would have been another one that we're looking at as well. So these are plans that we have. Once we grow to a certain point, hopefully we will get there so we can do a little bit of that giving back. But yeah, the Critical Role Foundation was the news, the industry news for this week. I don't know if I want to talk about the Warcraft news. This is the D&D stream.
Nah, we'll do that later.
And I'm angry about it.
Stay for the after show.
Headline: Shadowlands got delayed.
Ooh.
Tilly and I both took vacation to play it when it came out. It got delayed. But we'll talk about that in the after show, in the after hours. So the big Hops and Dragons news, as I'm sure you guys have probably all put together by now, thanks Callisto. We reached affiliate status officially after last episode, last Thursday, which is super awesome. We're incredibly humbled by it. We didn't expect to hit this goal for a very, very long time, and we hit it in 23 days from our first stream.
Which is crazy.
I know.
FYI.
It's awesome.
Which we never would have been able to do. I mean, it's easy to get your stream days, right? I mean, 7 days of streaming is no problem. 8 hours of streaming, me and you always talk way too long. That's easy. But having people who, are willing to follow you, people that are willing to come week after week, and just that follow alone means so much. It's huge. Whoa. And then you get people doing stuff like this.
So cheers to you. Thank you very, very much. Thank you, Callisto. Thank you to all of our other subs from last week. We went live very, very quickly on a Sunday and for a little gameplay stream. And we're getting blasted with notifications here. This is awesome. I love it. But thanks to everybody that has helped us get to this point. It does allow us to have subs. It does allow us to have tips and chairs and all that as well. As anybody who is here for the pre-show, it does allow us to have ads in the channel as well. We've talked about that, how we want to run those ads. We kind of want to put them off during the episode, and then we'll have them in the bumper sections as well, so that we can eliminate some of the pre-roll, so people can get into the channel easier and don't have to watch an ad before they decide if they want to stick around and watch us. So, also you can, Tilly, do you want to explain how the Prime subs work?
Yeah, I'm not really exactly sure the nuts and bolts of how you actually go about signing this up, but if you're a person like many people who have an Amazon Prime subscription to help cut back on those shipping costs, or to look at Amazon Prime Video or whatever, you may or may not know that you have a thanks Stevie B. Cheers to that.
I think we should.
But yeah,
I think we should
dance.
Cheers
it
everybody.
Sounds like we should dance.
We should dance and cheers to everybody. We love you all. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Sorry, continue with the Prime subs. I cut you off.
You can't cheers and not drink. That's bad luck, Paul.
I drank.
But I was trying to.
I apologize. As a bartender for a very long time, I completely agree with you. Do never cheers and don't drink. As I'm not superstitious, other than when it comes to that. It's
bad mojo, man. But anyway, Amazon Prime. If you have an Amazon Prime account, you have a free Twitch sub. If you're not using it on another channel on Twitch, feel free to give it to us. We will make good use of it to keep providing you content like we're doing right now. The only little caveat to Twitch Prime, or subbing with Twitch Prime versus subbing through Twitch, is it doesn't recur every month. So if you want to keep giving us that subscription every month over Twitch Prime, you have to make sure every month you go in and click the button and give it to us. But we'll remind periodically that it's a thing you can do.
100%. And it's the Twitch Prime ones are free. And if you have any friends that have them and aren't using them, send them our way. We'll certainly take it, because it'll help us in making this content and all the behind the scenes stuff that goes into it as well.
Plus, we're pretty fun, so send them our way anyway.
Yeah, they might actually enjoy it.
Twitch Prime sub. We're a good time.
You have to say that.
It's why everybody likes me better, Paul.
In the YouTube video, I'm requesting that this freeze frame in black and white and just zoom in on me single tearing.
It's funny.
Yeah, so that's the big news for this week. We didn't expect to be having that as part of our news announcements for quite some time. So we can't say thank you enough.
Can't say thank you enough. This has been the most humbling and fun thing I think I've ever done.
Totally. Completely, without a doubt. Both humbling and fun. You nailed it.
Yeah.
So without sounding like a broken record, we're going to move on to our Hops and Dragons Academy.
Sure. All right. So everybody, if you have your player's handbooks in front of you or your favorite website, we're going to do a bit more of a discussion back and forth on this one because it's a pretty dry topic. We're going to talk about conditions, and there's a pile of them.
You're really selling it there to them.
Well, I'm just saying, but there's lots of fun stuff in there, and there's stuff I feel like it's nice to know. But there's like 15 conditions, and we house rule a lot of them away, but they're there, right?
Yep.
And to be honest, the house rule that we use, I didn't know I was house ruling one of these away until I prepped for this episode tonight.
See, the reason why we do this section is because we're always learning. Everybody is always learning.
Yeah, there's always something. Like I've been reading through D&D content for so long, and I still don't know stuff.
If anybody says they know everything about D&D, they're lying to you.
Lying.
And if they're not, tell us because we have them as a guest on the show.
Or they're like Jeremy Crawford.
Or they wrote the book.
Game. Yeah, he might. He might have Anyway, so we're going to start off with, we're going to kind of lump two of them together. The blinded and the deafened condition. Blinded creature can't see, automatically fails any ability checks that require sight. Attack rolls against creature have advantage, and the creature's attack rolls have disadvantage. And deafened, a creature can't hear and automatically fails any ability check that requires hearing.
So what? I wonder what item would be really helpful for that first one.
I mean, maybe some goggles of darker vision.
Right.
Might help.
How useful.
100%. But the real trick with these ones, though, I found in our game, especially if you're a game that uses like all the fighting and everything that happens in your head, this might be a bit easier to roleplay. But if you're a table that uses minis and a mat, it's kind of hard to not metagame when your character is blinded and you know that creature is right there and you really want to just move over there and start swinging, right?
Yeah.
Because, I mean, we all want to fight. So the big thing I find with the blinded and the deafened is to try not to metagame as best as you can. Because I find at the end of the day, you might have more fun in that moment, but in the prolonged game campaign you're playing, trying to not metagame tends to be a bit more fun, I find.
Completely. I find that metagaming just takes the fun out of it, right? So it's, you can be like, do you want to win? It goes back to our episode 0. Do you want to win or do you want to have fun? Okay, well, try and play when you're blinded. Try and play swinging around and not knowing. Close your eyes. Turn around. Put a book in front of you so you don't see the table, right? It's all about challenging yourself, having a little bit of fun.
That's right. It's like, it's like when you roll and try to cheat your roll. I got a 20. Like, there's only so many times you can do that after it's just like, what's the point, right?
Like playing with cheat codes on. It's fun for the first time, and then it gets boring after a while.
It's boring. The next one to look at, I guess, is the prone condition. We talked a little bit about this in another episode. Basically, when you're prone, that means prone means you're on the ground, you're lying down. You can crawl unless you stand up. In order to stand up, you got to use half your movement, and that ends the condition. You have disadvantage on attack rolls because you're lying down. It's kind of hard to swing a sword or an axe when you're lying down. I don't know.
Have you tried it?
For me, I haven't, but I kind of feel like I should now. Attack rolls against the creature have advantage if you're within 5 feet of the creature who's prone, and otherwise the attack roll has disadvantage. So if you're shooting a bow at someone who's prone, as we mentioned in a previous episode, it's at disadvantage. This happens a fair amount, I find, in the game. There's lots of like fighters have ability to knock prone, monks have ability to knock prone, a lot of monsters have ability. Like I think wolves have a pounce that can knock prone. So it happens a lot at low end combat, and it's something, like we said before, if you go unconscious, which is another condition, you end up prone. So if you're making death saves, if you succeed, you gotta relieve yourself somehow of this condition. Another one is incapacitated. Now, incapacitated doesn't come up that often. Basically just means the creature can't take actions or reactions. So I take that as you could still technically move and be incapacitated. It
Fair.
only says actions and reactions.
Yep.
So there's a case where incapacitated and prone go hand in hand, and that's a favorite spell among bards specifically. So if you have a bard in your party, this might come up a fair bit. Tasha's Hideous Laughter. Hilarious spell. Just, leaves that monster just cackling on the floor, like literally rolling on the floor laughing. I love it. And that leaves you prone and incapacitated, which is one of the more standard ways that the incapacitated condition comes up.
Really fun to roleplay too, right?
Oh man, bards are the best to roleplay. The best. Like there's a couple other spells, like there's Feign Death and Hypnotic Pattern. There's like a Banishing Arrow, Dimensional Shackles, a couple items. Like there's a few ways to get there, but they're not all.
Feign Death makes you incapacitated?
Apparently.
Can you
or make somebody incapacitated?
Can you uncapacitate yourself?
There's probably a save against it, sure.
Because in World of Warcraft,
what's the opposite of incapacitated? Is it capacitated?
We'll look it up after the show. In World of Warcraft, the spell Feign Death makes you feign death. So you just like, I'm dead. Close your eyes and everyone leaves. So if you incapacitate yourself, is it like, can you get uncapacitated? That's what I'm going to call it that from now on.
Uncapacitated? Yeah. I mean, I'm assuming the Feign Death spell, I'd have to bring it up, but I'm assuming it does. You can't take your action or reaction, but you can like hightail it out of there, right?
Right.
Still move.
Yeah, well, fair enough. So Feign Death is actually a necromancy spell. Hashtag Team Necro. You touch a willing creature and put it in a cataleptic state that is indistinguishable from death. Good to know. Can you touch yourself? And it's not even after hours yet.
Yes, you could.
Okay, moving on. Next one.
Moving on. Next. So this is the one that I didn't know about. I mean, it makes sense, but it doesn't make sense. So there's Grappled. So as an action, when you attack, anybody can choose to instead grapple. And basically a creature or a humanoid, whatever, that's grappled, their speed becomes 0 and they can't benefit from any bonuses to its speed. So if you're a monk or a barbarian, you can run like the wind. When you're grappled, you're stuck where you are until you can break yourself free using athletics or acrobatics, typically. However, we always in our home game play it like restrained, which makes your speed become 0 and you can't benefit from any bonus of speed. But in addition, attack rolls against a restrained creature have advantage, and the creature's attack rolls have disadvantage, and they have disadvantage on dex saving throws. To me, I'm just throwing it out there, this is total homebrew. Restrained and grappled are the same.
I would rule it that way.
Right? Like, why else would I, as like, the big barbarian or the monk, somehow like, I want to get you in that headlock and just start like pounding on your head with advantage.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, what's the point of grappled if you don't get advantage?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I completely agree. I would rule that the same way.
Yeah. And, I don't know. To me, it's just a bit more fun. But that's a home rule. Not actually a rule, which is a rule I learned this week.
Because you read your player's handbook.
I read the player's handbook. Who would have thought that was helpful?
I know.
Who?
Right?
Paul? Who?
There's a running joke with us is that like he gave me such a hard time. It was like, you should have read the player's handbook. Like, you should know this. You should know this. And then he didn't read it. So it came up like in the episode. He's like, I don't know. I didn't read it.
I'll tell you. It's
bastard.
a big book, man. You know how long that would take me to read?
Next.
Apparently. Anyway.
Next
So
condition.
after that, it's the Frightened. Frightened creature has disadvantage on ability checks and attack rolls while the source of their fear is in the line of sight, and you can't move closer to the source of fear. So this is a really cool. If you have a spell, like I think it's just fear. Clerics get it, I believe. This is great because you can stand back. You could use this as almost a keep away. If you cast it, no one can move closer to you, and you can move next to your resident glass cannon. And therefore, no one can move closer to them, and you could just win.
Just win.
Just win, right?
Yeah.
I mean, typically with the frightened condition, there's you're doing a wisdom save at the end of every turn, and then once you save against fear, typically you're immune. Like dragons have a frightful presence, and typically you're immune then for 24 hours. Because like once you kind of fight back your fear, you're good for a while.
Yeah, and as a player, it really messes with melee classes. With range classes, it doesn't really do a whole lot. So when I get frightened, as playing my ranger, I don't. It's like, oh, okay, cool, sure. It still sucks a little bit, but because of the disadvantage part. But if it comes out at the beginning of a fight, and you're a cleric, well, maybe not cleric, but if you're a fighter or something like that, like a pure melee class, you're not fighting that monster. Right?
No, you're having a bad day.
You are.
So there's lots of ways around it. Yeah, I was frightened. There's lots of ways around it. Like there's a pretty powerful high-end spell called Hero's Feast. It gives you immunity to being frightened. Every cleric breaks out. It costs a fair amount of gold, I believe. I think it's a chalice worth 1,000 gold or something. But yeah, it's high level. You tend to get around this, but low levels, if you're a fighter, this is not fun for you. Or a monk, I guess. It's not fun for you.
Which is funny because you would think the fighters wouldn't be afraid of anything.
Yeah.
I
don't know. I mean, I've never seen a dragon in real life.
Fair enough.
So I don't really know. But I imagine I would pee my pants.
We almost did that on stream once.
It's true. We did.
The problem with having a stream where you have beer on stream for as long as we go.
That's right.
So paralyzed.
Paralyzed is next up. The creature is incapacitated. So then you kind of got to reference back to that incapacitated to get uncapacitated.
Uncapacitated, that's it.
It's a condition that references another condition. As we all know from reading the dictionary, a word that references another word is just... but you become paralyzed, you become incapacitated, you can't move or speak. You automatically fail strength or dex saves, so like you better not hope there's no fireballs getting thrown your way while you're paralyzed, because like you've taken it.
I'm going to pause for 2 seconds. Everybody in chat type ! Fire blams, BLAMS. We'll cut this out of the YouTube video.
BL. 17.
That's awesome.
Really?
So we're all dead.
Hashtag bland.
Continue
Fire
with your...
bland. Fire bland is my new favorite for low fireball rolls.
Fire bland.
But yeah, if you're paralyzed, you automatically fail strength and dex saves. Attack rolls against the creature have advantage because they ain't going nowhere. They're paralyzed. Any attack that hits the creature is just an automatic critical if you're within 5 feet. So like if you're a fighter or a monk or a barbarian or a paladin, especially if you're a paladin with those divine smites, paralyzed is your friend because you get crit hits like you wouldn't believe.
Totally.
I mean, huge. Second, probably to paralyzed, and the awesome one for players is stunned. Creature is also incapacitated. See below or above. Can't move, can't speak, or can speak only falteringly, they call it. So like grunts or whatever. Automatically fail strength and dex saves, and attack rolls against the creature have advantage. So this one comes up a fair amount, especially if you have monks in your party, because they can try to stun on every hit, and yeah, it just ruins your big bad evil guy's plans when they're stunned.
You're speaking as if you have experience with this.
So much experience. So much.
We have a monk in our real game party with that Tilly DMs.
Monks. Anyway, moving on. Poisoned. Poison doesn't come up. It comes up a bit, but basically a poisoned creature has disadvantage on attack rolls and ability checks. Like, I think the constrictor snake from last week could have given, or no, that's the poisonous snake can give the poison condition. Makes sense.
Funny how it works.
But gives you disadvantage on attack rolls and ability checks. Usually you're poisoned for a minute. But like a paladin with their lay on hands could get rid of it pretty easy. So it tends to not be the worst thing that ever happens. But a bad time poisoning can really throw off a fight.
And a minute being 10 rounds.
10 rounds, right? That's a long time to be poisoned. This is kind of from our rules you may not know earlier, the unconscious ones condition. You're unconscious. You fall prone. You drop to the ground, whatever you're holding. You automatically fail any dex or saving throws because you're unconscious. And anybody who rolls against the creature has advantage. Any attack that hits the creature is a critical hit if you're within 5 feet. So, point of order, if you get hit by an attack while you're unconscious, so you're making death saving throws, you take 2 fails per hit while you're unconscious.
Oh, wow. Oh, right. Yes.
So this becomes a big issue, bad time if your big bad evil guy is swinging a great sword and has like great weapon master, which allows them to swing again if they knock someone out.
Fair enough.
It could really mess up your day. So this is something I guess for DMs to be aware of too, that like, you know, your intelligent bad guy might want to keep pressing the attack even though they know that this person's unconscious, just to make sure they're out of the fight for good. But like, you know, you'll definitely kill a character if you do this.
If you knock them unconscious?
If you knock them unconscious in attack, it would be amazing if you didn't kill a character.
Yeah.
Amazing. Next up is invisible. So this is kind of like the opposite of blinded. It's like in blinded you can't see, but invisible no one can see you. There's a couple different spells that can get you invisible, but the gist of it is you can't be seen, but you can be detected, but you still make noise, you still leave tracks, you're not like ethereal. But attack rolls against the creature has disadvantage if somehow they believe they pinpoint your position based on like hearing. You still can't see you. And your attack rolls have advantage. So if you're a rogue trying to get that sneak attack, this is a great way to do it.
To become invisible?
Yeah, become invisible, yeah. I mean, the downside is typically if you're using the lesser invisibility, just a regular invisibility spell, like once you do an attack, cast a spell, you now become visible. If you can somehow get greater invisibility cast on you, you can attack and stay invisible and just wreck everybody's day.
Like those evil rogues in World of Warcraft.
I know, right? Evil rogues.
Don't get me started. But it's funny because I've taken a level of rogue on my ranger as much as I.
It's just one though. You just dipped a toe in
just
there.
Just one toe in the rogue pool. That's it.
It's not so bad.
Next one's up is Petrified.
Petrified, yeah. So Petrified, you turn to stone. This is your Medusa spell, your Basilisk spell, abilities. You again become incapacitated, so we're just referencing back to that again. You become rock, so attack rolls against you have advantage because you're now a rock. You automatically fail strength and dex saving throws because you're a rock. But you have resistance to all damage because you're a rock. And you have immunity to poison and disease because you're a rock. So, like, that's good.
Sure.
The upside is to Petrified in 5th edition. If you're used to Petrified in like 3.5. Petrified used to be, you save or die, right? If you failed your DC, you're now a rock. Versus in 5th edition, you typically get one save and you start turning into a rock.
Right.
And then if you fail the second one, now you're petrified. Greater Restoration can clear it up pretty easy.
You can get
but
unrocked.
you can get unrocked. And no one, I mean, I personally love being rocked, but maybe not in this sense.
Hops and Dragons apologizes for any horrible puns.
Speaking of enchantment magic being evil, the next one is Charmed. Charmed creature can't attack the charmer or target the charmer with harmful spells or abilities or magical effects. Charmer has advantage on an ability check to interact socially with the creature. Again, this is a hard one to roleplay if you've been charmed, because you might not, like, your DM might kind of ask you to do something that is against what you want to happen, or like attack somebody that you don't want to attack.
Yeah, the role play like masters come out when it comes to this condition for sure.
Right, and it's not saying though, like, all the same, it's not saying you would attack somebody, but like, you'd still know that, like, if I got charmed, I would still know, Paul, that you are my friend.
Yes.
But this person who charmed me is more my friend a little bit, but that doesn't mean I would attack you. I'd be like, hey, Paul, I don't know why we were just fighting this guy, but, like, we should, like, hug this guy. He's awesome.
So it's just like you went from 9 p.m. pre-drinks to 3:30 a.m.
End of the night, just not in a good state. You need to go home, get some fries, go home.
Just hugs all around. So again, we've determined that enchantment magic is more evil than necromancers. Hashtag Team Netro. Team Necro.
Equally as evil. I'm not taking it. I'm on the neutral side on this one. They're both evil.
So the next one is Exhaustion.
The last one is Exhaustion. Now this is one wield Exhaustion DMs cautiously. There's 6 levels to this one. The first level, you get disadvantage on ability checks, so you get disadvantage on any of your skills. You get persuasion, acrobatics, athletics, whatever, that whole list. Just disadvantage on the works. Second level, your speed is half. Most ancestries give you a speed of 30. Now it's 15. You ain't running away. Third is disadvantage on attack rolls and saving throws, so you ain't attacking nothing, and if anything tries to hit you with a spell or something, it's not going to go well. Fourth, now it starts getting really bad. Your hit point maximum gets halved. Just halved. If it was 100, it's now 50. Oof. Fifth, your speed gets reduced to 0, so you're just incapacitated, I guess. I'm surprised they didn't make your reference back. But like, you can't move, you can't do anything. That's it. And at 6 levels of exhaustion, you just die.
You're dead.
You're just dead.
You're done.
Things that can give you exhaustion, typically in a day, you can walk during a typical adventuring day. I can't remember exactly, it's like 8 hours or 12 hours, but like every hour after that you want to keep walking is an exhaustion or a constitution check for a level of exhaustion. Barbarians have an ability that if they use it, they gain a level of exhaustion. So barbarians could theoretically exhaust themselves to death.
How often can you use that ability though?
I'm not sure off the top of my head.
Because if I would imagine that it's on a long rest that you would get it. You would get it back.
Depends.
Fair enough. Unless you're not able to have a long rest.
Right. I mean, things I would probably give exhaustion for, like if you're playing a very wilderness style game, if you weren't able to start a fire because it was raining and you were walking, stuck in the middle of the jungle. If it was, you're up north and it was cold and, wind buffeting against you, you might get a level of exhaustion.
Right.
Like, there's lots of ways you can do this, but just use cautiously because it only takes 6 fails and you're just killing the character.
For those evil DMs they're just sitting there watching. Like, yes.
Now, on the flip side, I actually homebrewed myself, I think it was a Shadow Dragon, which was in previous editions, and I made it have a breath that gave exhaustion. Because if you're in a party, which is pretty typical, I think, for most D&D games nowadays, your adventuring day tends to be one big, massive nova of arrows and magic.
And exhausting things.
So you could probably get away throwing this in a little bit for a laugh. If you know that this is going to be one big fight, and when the fight's over, win or lose, it's over. They can go to bed. They can relax. But it does take a full day's rest to get rid of one level. So if you have 5 levels of exhaustion, that's 5 days of long rest.
Wow.
Or 5 greater restoration spells, which is expensive.
Yep, 100%. So for Frenzy, starting when you choose this path at 3rd level, you can go into a Frenzy when you rage. If you do so for the duration of your rage, you can make a single melee weapon attack as a bonus objective on each of your... Sorry, I scroll down. On each of your turns after this one. When your rage ends, you suffer 1 level of exhaustion.
Yeah.
So you could do that then.
And I think barbarians only start off with 2 rages per long rest, but it goes up. So you could probably get yourself to like 4.
Wow.
So you could almost exhaust yourself to death.
I kind of want to make one now and do that.
At 17th level, you can rage 6 times. So yeah, theoretically, you could frenzy rage yourself to death.
I'd say you take out a lot of big bad evil guys on the way out, though.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
I feel like by the time you get to like level 17 or 20, though, you might as well just, I don't know.
All right, we're moving on.
What a way to go!
This is gonna get dark.
What a way to go! Anyway, that's all the conditions. There's lots of ways you can use them in your game. Typically we get in these kind of ruts, which is like you hit, I hit, you hit, I hit, like the Rock'em Sock'em robots.
Right.
This stuff changes it up, right? It gives a little bit of a different issue for your players to have to, solve, and it gives players a way to control that battlefield way more than just by dealing out the DPS.
Yeah.
DPR.
Yeah. DP6S.
Yeah. You know what we mean.
100%. So that was the educational section. I've only had a half a beer tonight. Sorry, that's a lie. I had a pre-show beer. I apologize. That's our educational section for tonight. Our Hops and Dragon Academy. There will be a quiz at the end. But you'll all get certificates in the mail.
No, you won't get
so now again we're gonna post a little bit more in our Discord channel. Discord.
I love it.
Just like any of the stuff we talk about tonight, we are gonna share that on our social media and in our Discord, and for you guys to be able to take a look at in case you want some more information. You also can just Google them; they are available on the interwebs for free.
Yeah.
Where did you get these for tonight? Just so we can get a little.
I think these came off Roll20. Their website has a pretty good. The SRD, the free rules from Wizards of the Coast, they have those laid out fairly well.
Yep, Roll20. Any of them. Player's Handbook, if you got it.
Everyone has a Player's Handbook, Paul. Come on.
And everybody has read through all of it, 100%.
Clearly, everybody.
So our next section, we wanted to, when we first started doing this, we wanted to highlight some of the awesome people in the community. We wanted to highlight the really, really cool artists, whether it be actual, physical art, digital art, even cosplay and, physical building, like tactile things as well, like anything. This was our first choice for our first episode, but we kept on getting like a couple like personal ones that we had to share. So we saw this, we were like, we've got to have this as our first one. But we had our the designer that created all of our branding and everything. She did a really cool one, so we had to feature that, and another couple that we had to feature, kind of a little bit more immediately. So we're gonna pop on over to Twitter and take a look here. Tilly, do you want to set this up?
Yeah. So this is there you go. It's by Meg Adams. I guess this is artwork for her own character, Agnes Prune-Terry. And she's just adorable. Look at those cheeks. Do you see those cheeks and the glasses? Like, it's amazing. And
I didn't even read this before the episode. I'm so happy right now.
And the best part about all this is she's a drug lord. Like, bait and switch, man.
269-year-old halfling drug lord. A cleric that dabbles in necromancy. How can you say that this is evil? Look at her. All right. She's a jazz cabbage cookie fanatic and overall is just a sweet,
What?
chaotic, good drink grandma.
What is a jazz cabbage cookie?
I think it's
Is that like... Okay, I understand. Yeah, never mind. Sorry I asked the question, internet. I apologize. I am the coolest person you'll ever meet.
Well done, sir.
Let me just push up my glasses here a little bit.
Right. It is legal here in Canada, so we can talk about it on stream. So we thought it was super cute. The art style is awesome. But she also did a couple of really dark ones as well. That's great.
I love it so much.
In case you can't see it in the stream there, it's Agnes Prunetier is her name. She's gonna tray jazz cabbage cookies, anyone? And then cross me and I will use your corpse as tinder to warm my meatloaf.
Oh man. I love this character.
Grandma time. This is awesome. I love it. I absolutely love it. And there's her and the rest of her party. It's just adorable. I love it.
Yeah. They got like the edgelord there and the bard and the bar. Oh, does that barbarian? Does he have that a pint?
It is, yeah. It's a big, it looks like a 1 liter 9-penny Oktoberfest pint, actually.
It does. And then
Sponsor
she's just
shout
there
out.
with her cookies.
With them big cute grandma eyes.
Damn big cute grandma eyes is right.
That's right. So her name is Art by Moga, ARTBYMOGA. We'll be posting that in our Discord. Can we start calling it a Discord from now on?
I like it.
Yeah.
I do. I really do.
I kind of want to play her. I'm not gonna lie. We should play that party.
Like playing old people seems to be a thing at our table because like my favorite character is that old wizard I play.
Yes.
It just seems to be a thing. Playing
Sure.
old people, man.
It's awesome.
I don't know.
Love it. So yeah, so I reiterate again, hashtag Team Necro. Necro ain't that evil. What's our next section, Tilly?
I believe this is a point we're going to take a quick little break.
Oh, we are.
This
Look at
is
that.
a little breaks. Again, as we mentioned, if you're just coming in the show, some of you may have seen them coming in. We apologize. Now that we're affiliated, there's pre-roll ads, boo, when you join our stream.
But we can
which
get
is-
subs now, which is awesome.
But we can get subs now, which is great. But in an effort to limit the pre-roll ads for when people join our show, we're gonna run a minute ad break. As we just found out at the beginning of the show, it takes about 45 seconds for the ad to pop up. But if we run that for a minute or so, it manages to get us out of any more ads for the rest of the show.
For the people that are coming in, so they don't have to sit
You're
through
right.
a minute-long ad before they decide whether or not they want to stick around or not. So we are going to take a quick ad break. Actually, I've got so I want to talk about this during the news, but I skipped over it a little bit. We have a bunch of new custom chat commands. We'll go over it all in the after show. But this is one of them. I can just do that. So
Fancy.
fancy, I know, right? Also, something that we didn't mention in the news, both of us forgot about it, but for everybody that sticks around in the
For
after
the
show,
after show.
Hops and Dragons After Hours, what do they get?
Oh, we're gonna do a roll. Cause D&D. Everyone loves rolling dice. We're gonna roll some D100s. And the highest one we're gonna gift a sub. So
A full
stick
sub,
around,
a full paid featured sub,
which is exciting.
100%. So we're gonna start the ad break there now. If you are subscribed, you will not see it. Hopefully, that's our plan. Just let us know in the chat if you do see it. This is our first time doing it, our first night doing it, so we're trying to let some get some feedback on how it works, and we do appreciate you sticking around. We do have our CR Monster Battle coming up.
Ooh.
That a bunch of you guys voted on, and we'll reveal the winners and we'll go to battle. So we'll see you on the other side, after the cut, after the break. I've never said this before. This is fun. All right, we'll see you. All right, so we appreciate you guys for sticking around. We actually have more viewers now than before the ad break. So that worked out well. So now we have 30 minutes of pre-roll entry ads free, which is awesome.
It is.
Um,
So yeah, I just finished off that Wasn't Up.
Yep.
It was awesome.
Yep.
Like, yeah, that was awesome.
I told you
Right
were
down my
like,
alley. Right down my alley. Like a little bit. Like yeah, a little bit less red than a red. But like I could see me like yeah.
it's like a light.
That's a good beer.
Yeah, it's like a light red. If our lovely sponsor is in chat, he can certainly give a little bit of a more of an explanation than I gave in the beginning. Given the fact that he brewed the beer himself.
Mm-hmm.
But do you have another beer?
I do. It is a no-name beer, however.
Good call. Do you have it poured up?
I do.
All right. We're going to get on to our next section, which is the CR Monster Battle, like I said before the ad break, where a bunch of you guys voted.
No.
What?
No. Wrong.
Oh.
I mean, I guess.
Whoops. We're gonna do a puzzle challenge. But first, we drink.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh man.
Yeah.
How much
Thank
percent alcohol is in this Wisen Up?
you. Not enough, clearly.
Oh. Not enough to explain our ineptitude.
Yeah,
Ineptitude?
it is.
If I can still use ineptitude, it's not that strong.
That's right. It is a 4.7 4.7 brew. 4.7%. Unlike our last week or 2 weeks ago, which we were getting a little bit giddy by this time.
Mm-hmm.
That's strong New England. So we're gonna do a puzzle challenge where we know that we challenge one or the other. This beer's hitting me way harder than you, clearly. We challenge each other with a puzzle that you would use in a dungeon, for example. And whoever's turn it is this week, the other person hasn't seen the puzzle.
Nope. So
this is the first time. So it's Tilly's turn this week because I had the puzzle last week. He was the puzzlee and I was the puzzler. And Tilly got it last week. So the pressure is on me. I haven't seen this yet. I did Tilly a favor last week and didn't pick a hard one for him. I'm assuming he's not going to do the same back to me.
So again, you've actually seen this puzzle before in our home game, but it was a couple years ago.
That doesn't mean anything.
100% it doesn't. I don't think you got the answer. One of our other fellow players, Lux, who may or may not still be in chat, she got it in like a snap. Like I feel like I was barely done explaining it, and she was like, "It's this," and I was like, "Whoa."
Her intelligence and wisdom or something is really high, isn't it?
No, I mean, I don't know what Lux rolled at birth, but
she's smarty pants.
But I mean, sometimes you want a hard puzzle, sometimes you want a not a hard puzzle, because puzzles don't challenge the character, they challenge the player. So you don't want to, get them stumped behind something they're gonna take all night to try to solve. That's not why we play D&D.
But generally,
the odd puzzle is a good laugh.
But generally, if you have a party of 3 or 4, they can kind of work together, and you put your heads together and kind of come out on top.
Trooper just explained the beer because he made it.
Yes, which is way more eloquent than what I said. But it's I know they're a sponsor for tonight. But if you guys are in Newfoundland, and on the East Coast, definitely try and get this one. Don't sleep on it because it is super, super tasty. It's crisp. It's perfect for the fall. It's just like it just tastes like Oktoberfest. If you like beer.
I wonder, considering Trooper is here.
I still have some left. I forgot.
But considering Trooper's here, and I know this is a hard question to answer, but do you have any idea about how long you figure this is going to stay on tap? Because I know sometimes you guys sell out fast. Fancy. It
can't do that
backwards though.
Yeah, I know. You can't do that with your camera.
No, my USB camera cannot zoom like that.
So it's going to be there available until they run out. So it depends on how popular it is. It also is in bottles as well, so you can pick it up at the brewery, Marie's, potentially NLC's. But your best bet is always going to be almost always going to be at the brewery for pickup. So definitely on tap. until it runs out.
Yeah.
Cool. So you ready to?
Oh, I'm ready.
It's
puzzle time.
Do you need to explain anything before we look at it?
Well, no, you can bring it up and I can explain as we go.
All right, let's get over there.
So,
wait, question. Did you do this in Hops and Dragons colors?
I did.
Ah, attaboy.
I know. I'm so good.
Well done.
I followed my PDF color coding.
Good job. Good job. Hit me with it.
So, you are a thief. You have been tasked with breaking into Aaron. You have been tasked with breaking into the local wizard's tower.
Mm-hmm.
You're making your way in. You're expert thief. You're dodging the traps. You're doing the whole thing, and you get to a door. And on the door it says "Wizards Training and Experimentation Room. Danger. Do not proceed. Enter passcode for entry." And in front of you see these 4 buttons. What do you do?
What's the place called?
It's the Wizards Training and Experimentation Room, which is neither here nor there. It really just has to do with the geometric shapes that you see before you. There's a logical order to press these buttons. I believe in you.
If you look sideways, they make letters. Am I getting closer?
No.
If I look sideways this way, they make letters too. So what's it called again? The Wizards?
The Wizard's door code. It's a code. It's an entry code.
Right.
But it's a little bit of a logic puzzle too. Chat, if you're not Aaron, Jess, or Anna, feel free to give Paul a hand.
I think I got it.
What do you got?
Oh, easy. The circumflex.
Give me bottom left, right, please.
Bottom left.
Bottom left. Yeah.
The Z, bottom right.
Yeah.
The 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. The M top left or Sigma, and then the X top right.
Yeah, the door swings open.
Woohoo! Yeah, so initially I was like, okay, this makes sense because some are bigger, some have more angles than others, and some have more lines than others, and so then I counted and I was just like, hold on, that doesn't make sense because like 2 of them have the same amount of lines. So like the bottom left with the triangle one has the same amount of lines as the X, for example. So I was like, okay, what about the angles? And it's one like acute angles, so like 1, 2, 3, or 1, 2, 3, and then 4.
Yep, it's exactly the answer.
Woohoo! Yay!
Good logic. And I think that only took you like a minute and a half. That's pretty good.
100%. That's awesome. And where would you use something like this?
Again, like it's meant to be like a door code, if like a wizard's tower. I mean, it's not really a fantasy thing. Runes maybe in an abandoned mythical hags something. You know what I mean? Like it's a bit of a harder thing to fit into a fantasy setting, but it's a fun little puzzle. I feel like most people will be able to handle in a couple minutes, right?
Yeah. If I can handle it while live with viewers watching me.
Yeah. If you had gotten it wrong, a wrong entry, like if you wanted to try to brute force it, I probably would have made it cast, like the door would cast like a firebolt or something at you, so it would do a bit of damage every time you got it wrong.
Not a fire blams?
No, fire blams might be too hard. But a firebolt, like a little bit of damage, just so you might not want to start pressing buttons.
31 damage.
Yeah, that would hurt if you were a low-level character, man.
Yeah, 100%.
But yeah, congratulations, Paul.
Thank you very much.
Cheers.
But first we drink.
Is there an exclamation point cheers?
There might be.
Ah, but first we drink.
So just like any video game, there's a lot of Easter eggs in our chat. The cheat codes are available online in case you want to search for them, and you're smart enough to figure out where they all are. But a lot of them are in there, and the Fireblams one was one of my favorites, and there's a couple more that are like that as well. I had a lot of fun writing these last week. I got kind of dug into the syntax and the code of them, which is
nice,
which is fun. I don't think Tilly knows all of them either.
I definitely don't.
No. But yeah, there are some things that we'll find out tonight. Next section.
Oh, it's time, Paul.
Is it time?
It is time.
Dun 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 dun. All right. Okay. Am I allowed to make music or just not sing? So for anybody that
sorry.
So for anybody that wasn't here last week, I sang something on stream, and we got a sub for me not to ever sing again. So I'm not allowed to sing as long as that sub is active.
Too funny. It was money well spent.
Yeah, I would agree with that too. Mm-hmm. Cool. So the poll. What do you have the votes up for the poll?
I can give them quickly.
Very good. So
I know it switched around today, actually.
It did. I was watching it live and it was popping around and around and around. Go ahead.
Oh no, that's next week's poll. We haven't released it yet. It was an orc. Orc took an early lead and held it.
What were the options first off?
So there was orc, gnoll, hobgoblin, and a thug.
Mm-hmm.
All basic kind of CR 1.5 minions that you'll find in your typical D&D game.
Yeah.
At lower levels, greater numbers than what we're gonna play here tonight.
Yes.
But the orc took an early lead. Clearly a fan favorite. Orcs are in a lot of content. People might not know what a gnoll or a hobgoblin even is. So I thought an orc was definitely in there, and I thought hobgoblin was so orc's in with 5 votes, by the way. Hobgoblin had 3 votes up until today, and then it went to 4, and I thought this is going to be an orc versus hobgoblin battle here, folks. But then the gnoll just took off because some plucky viewers really pushed for it today. Clutch before the 5 p.m. Shut off. And,
it was pretty epic to watch.
Tied up. So a gnoll, if you're not sure, is almost like the best way to describe it is almost like a dog person. Probably.
Yeah.
A hobgoblin humanoid is like a smarter kind of goblin, and a thug is a thug. Could be any race. I think we were going to use a human if it had came tonight, but it didn't come up.
Probably.
So tonight, gnoll versus orc.
The gnoll, just before we get into it, this is the stat block. What makes the gnoll specific toward or unique from other characters, other monsters?
Gnolls have that ability. You see, they're called the Rampage. When a gnoll reduces a creature to 0 hit points with a melee attack on its turn, the gnoll can make a bonus action to move up half its speed and make a bite attack. So this is a big deal at low levels. You knock out a player. If you're a DM, you knock out a player with a gnoll, and all of a sudden you can move another 15 feet and make another attack for 1d4 plus 2, which is not a lot at higher levels, but at low levels, like 1d4 plus 2, I mean, there goes your wizard. There goes your sorcerer god.
There goes your squishy.
There goes your squishy. So I mean, that's where the gnoll really shines. You won't see that so much here tonight. They do outfit the gnoll with hide armor and a shield for 15 AC. So if you want to use a weapon with 2 hands, you have to put the shield away, which will lower the armor class to 13. But they do have a spear, they have a bite, and they also have a longbow. So they're pretty versatile on the battlefield.
They're essentially just, like you said, human dogs with a lot of extra, like a lot of abilities, a lot more than what we're used to. So the next one is, used to on this segment. The next one is the orc. So as a bonus action, orc can move up to its speed towards a hostile creature that it can see. So it's essentially a dash as a bonus action. It does have a great axe, it's a 1d12 plus 3.
Big damage.
Big dice, big damage. And it does have a ranged attack as well.
Yeah, javelin, a bit of a shorter 30-foot range before you go into the disadvantage territory, but at least it doesn't leave you hanging in the back lines or behind, not in melee, kind of just picking your nose, right?
Yeah. So you can, which is cool because you could then, if you're not in range, you can throw the javelin, and then use your bonus action to essentially dash up to where you have to go. Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
or I mean, if you can get there with your dash, you could attack anyway. But yeah, to
Yeah,
your point,
Fair enough.
you can if your dash and your movement doesn't get you there, at least you're not stuck doing nothing, right? Which is good because nothing worse than using your whole movement, my zombie, and not being able to do anything by the time you get there.
Hey, the zombie still won.
It's true.
If anybody wants to check that episode out, it is episode 1 on our YouTube channel as well, or in episode 1 on our YouTube channel. All right, so we're gonna pop over to Roll20 here for this because what's a D&D stream without actually a couple dice rollings? Hey,
That's true.
Where did you find this battle map?
This is from Patreon for Seafoot Games. They have this posted as a free one for people to use on Roll20. This is just the coolest artwork. This battle map. This looks badass.
It is awesome.
You'll see this one cycle back in again. I mean, I think those are Valkyries holding chains. I believe those are pillars. So you could hide behind those pillars, I would say.
Yep.
And I'm assuming if you could push someone up against that wall to do a bit of fire damage.
Oh, I didn't even notice that when I was looking at this before.
Yeah,
cool. I like that.
I would, if I was the DM, I would call that like maybe a 2d6 if you can push someone into that 5 foot where the flames are.
Good to know.
Yeah.
Yes. You should have told me that after the match. All right, anybody who's in chat, I want to see a quick poll and see who thinks who's gonna win tonight.
Team Gnoll here, folks.
Tilly's the Gnoll. He is on his side, and I am the orc on my side.
This fight goes out to Schmoody Poo, who really wanted to see this Gnoll in battle.
And who was also our first follower as well. So
it's true.
You get to see our battle.
He followed us before we followed us.
Yes, before we even followed us.
That's actually true.
It's unfortunately true.
We got some Gnolls in this house. A couple orcs though.
God, everybody always.
I just want to see a Gnoll win once. Yeah, for all you WoW players out there, a Gnoll would be like, Hogger. From Stockades Dungeon or Elwyn Forest.
The old school Hogger in Elwyn. He's not there anymore, right?
No, he's there, but he gets captured and goes to jail.
Oh, right. I still have that. I still have that quest in WoW on my hunter.
Wow.
Never turned it in.
You have a hoarding problem, my friend.
Don't want to talk about it. All right, are you ready to go?
I'm ready to do this. Rolling for initiative.
Cool. Rolling a D. Oh, I need to get the dice roller up here. The cool thing about Roll20 is that you can do everything online. You can play with people from a distance. We are not sponsored by Roll20.
No.
So, and the dice roller is actually pretty convenient. So initiative. I ask you this every single time.
1d20 plus your dex.
Plus my dex. Plus 1. So 1d20.
I'm also a plus 1.
Plus 1.
Oh!
So for those of you guys that can't see, he rolled a nat 20 plus 1. I rolled a 19 plus 1, so an unnatural 20.
That's 3 for 3 for nat 20s for me at some point in the battle anyway. Just
yes, 100%. And
all our home games are going online. All of them. I can't roll this well in person.
For those of you that have tuned in before, whenever there's a nat 20 rolled on stream, we invite you to join with us. We drink. And now I'm officially out of this tasty Oktoberfest. Okay, I have more. So you go first then.
All right, so first thing I'm going to do, because I don't want to get anywhere near you.
Oh, it's gonna be like that.
It is 100% going to be like that. So I'm going to whip out my trusty longbow, which means I'm putting away my shield for the record. So my AC goes down by 2. So that is a 1d20. Oh, sorry. I didn't add modifiers. I clicked the button.
Way to go.
Ignore that roll. Ignore that roll.
Oh, you wasted it.
I did. It was a good one, too. 1d20 plus 3 to hit. A 15, sir.
What's my AC? 15. So I know in games like Risk, defense has an advantage. So if you roll the same, the defender wins.
Mm-hmm.
In D&D, how do you deal with ties?
Ties, the attacker wins in D&D. Is your AC 15 or is it 13?
Oh, sorry. My hit points are 15. My apologies. My AC is 13.
Ooh, buddy, this thing don't go well for you tonight.
What's yours?
So, mine is it's a 13 now because I put away my shield to take out my longbow.
Right.
But it's usually a 15. So a 1d8 plus 1 piercing damage coming at you, sir.
Uh-oh. Jeez.
Oh!
You gotta
Thank
stop
you.
rolling max on
Thank
your
you.
dice, man.
Thank you.
This is gonna be a short one.
That's 9 damage to your poor old little orc there, Paul.
So in Roll20, you can just type in -9 on your health, and it does the math for you, which is great because no head math. Continue with your turn.
That is the end of my turn. I'm not going to move. I'm just going to stay where I am, far, far away from that orc.
For enough. So, in order for me to reach you, also has a cool tool like this. In order for me to reach you, I need to go 60 feet. My movement is 30 feet. So that means...
Moved.
What's that?
I should have moved.
You should have. All you had to do was move back.
Not my brightest moment. I apologize.
It's okay. Shoulda, coulda, woulda. So I'm going to do that and jump all the way up here in front of you.
That's using your movement and your bonus action to be aggressive.
So now I can't attack you, right?
No, you can. That's just your bonus action.
Oh, right. Movement, bonus action, and then the action. Yes. So, I swing my great axe, which is a +5 to hit, and it's a 1d12 plus 3. So a roll to hit.
1d20. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, roll to hit 1d20 plus 5. Bump that up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right. Orky needs a new pair of Gnoll ears. Seriously?
I mean, you got there, buddy. You did it. But, like, that's a miss.
So, I guess I can't even RP anything now because I've used my bonus action, can I?
Yeah, that big old axe, you ran so hard to get to me that you just swung wildly and missed. The Gnoll, laughing like a jackal, whips out his shield and spear again and plunges it in your direction. It's a 1d20 plus 4 to hit with his spear one-handed. 16.
This is gonna be a quick
This
battle
is gonna
tonight.
be a quick fight for 1d6 plus 2 piercing damage.
Roll the 1. Nat 1. Nat 1.
Oh no.
I have 1 health left. He rolled a 5. I rolled a 3 plus 2.
Plus 2 is a 5. I will laugh at you a little bit more and hold my ground.
So if I run away now, I get an attack of opportunity that you
That
can
is
hit.
correct.
You can take a swing at me, so I can't run away. Am I strong enough? I have a strength of 3. Can I just like Sparta you into the fire?
Typically you can only push like 5 feet.
Can't do that.
If you were a monk, you might be able to get me out. Monks can push, and battle masters can push 15 feet, I think.
Why can't
You are
he be?
unfortunately neither of those.
Why can't he be a battle master fighter orc? All right, let's see if I hit this time to save my life, because I could technically one-shot you.
No, I have 22 hit points.
Oh, it says 15.
Oh, does it?
Yeah,
Oh. That's my armor class is 15.
gotcha. See,
Sorry,
not the
boss.
only one that screws it up.
Nope. Nope.
So I could, the max damage I could roll right now is if I roll my 1d12 is 12, plus the 3, so that's 15. And then I gotta hope that you miss on the next one or else you win.
That's correct.
And this is all dependent on whether or not I hit. Actually, I could crit if I get a nat 20 here. You could be totally dickered.
It could. It's possible.
All right, come
Roll that
on.
dice.
Here we go. 1d20 plus 5. Oh, Oh, it still hits, but it's not a crit.
Definitely hits though.
The 16 plus 5 for a 21.
That big two-handed battle axe comes swinging down.
And ka-chunk right across your stupid Gnolly face. For... Oh no, now I feel bad. Come on. So it's a
puppy dog eyes?
No, get out of here. I have 1 health left. You're not puppy dog and eyeing me. So that's a 1d12 plus 3. And we'll roll. Come on. Max damage. And I got a 3 plus 3. 6 damage to you, sir.
Oh, that's not so bad.
So now you have the same hit points as I started with.
All right.
15 to 1.
So the Gnoll, seeing his advantage, lunges forward at your throat.
Good RP.
And he goes in for a bite attack, which is a 1d20 plus 4 to hit.
Oh, does not hit. Does not hit.
Yeah, all right. Jaws clench around, nothing. That's what I get. See, folks, that's what you get for trying to be glitzy.
100%.
All I had to do was hit. All I had to do was hit.
Yeah.
All
right, is that the end of your turn, sir?
That is the end of my turn.
Well then, seeing the opportunity where you are stunned from missing me and trying to take a swing back at you. You're way better at this roleplay than I am. I take a swing with my great axe back at you again. 1d20 plus 5. Come on, give me a crit. Come on. Although I could one-shot you if I do max damage.
Good.
Rolling for hit. A 6 plus 5.
My shield comes up. Thunk. Takes the hit. Dealing no damage. Being emboldened, he's going for another bite because, like, he wants to taste that sweet, sweet pork meat. 1d20 plus 4.
You miss!
So, like, in that one, he, like, chomps down on, like, your armor and a tooth goes flying off. Oh,
that's epic.
Oh, that's the worst. That's the worst.
In like pure absolute just orcish resilience, just lifts up that great axe again and takes a swing for another miss.
Wow, this fight started huge and it's just Keystone Cops.
I rolled a 2 out of 1d20. So plus 5, that's a 7. So that definitely misses.
All right, he's given up. He's given up on the bite. He's gonna try to stab you as you're off balance from your attack.
Oh no!
Which is still a 1d20 plus 4 to hit.
Miss.
15.
That
I
hits.
believe that hits. I don't feel like you have enough hit points to survive this.
I do not.
So he rolls the 1d6 plus 2 for 5 damage.
How do you want to do this?
Like, I mean, I feel like it's not a good kill. Like, I feel like he somehow managed to just like get a bit of like that fleshy bit underneath your arm, but like somehow that's enough damage to knock you out.
His green body slumps to the floor and leaks fluid onto the sacrificial markings in the floor of this ancient arena.
The crowd goes wild.
Bring
that
us
was
back.
For you, Schmoody Poo.
Yeah. Dedicated to our first follower. Bring us back to the title screen so you can update the... or is that a pain to do?
I can do it. Copy.
You can do it. Put your mind to it.
Move you over. Why are you not copy and pasting?
There we go.
Paul, I'm beginning to see a pattern here, buddy.
Yeah, it's a pattern where you tell me which one to pick and I listen to you.
I did not. I believe I told you to pick Gnoll. I believe I told you.
So you told me which one to pick the last 2 times and I said, no, I'm not gonna fall for your reverse psychology again.
So who needs to listen to who now?
I don't know who to listen to anymore. You said the Badger was gonna win and the Gnoll was gonna win. So you're 1 for 1, and you didn't say anything for the zombie yourself.
Well, no, I wanted the zombie to win, so I was happy about that. But I was, mathematically speaking, the skeleton should have won that fight. And point of order, if the arena had been bigger and the skeleton could have kept running away, it would.
100%. Very good. So that's
our whoop whoop whoop.
That's our CR battle. We do it every single week. That is part of our episode. And if you go to our social media pages right now, I scheduled it like almost perfectly to go out while we were doing this section. It is live right now. The poll for next week. Do you have it up?
The poll?
Yeah. I got it here. That's fine. So next week, do you want to set it up? Do you want to let them know what it is?
I'm trying to keep a theme. You know, the first week we did undead. Second week we did beasts. This week was like minions. So next week, I am very excited about next week. It's going to be a CR 1/4, so not very big, 1/4 dinosaur battle, which is dope.
Dinos. I'm going to toss it in chat. You should be able to click on it if you want.
This one's going to be interesting. There's I don't know how to pronounce any of these words. The
Dimetrodon,
Hadriosaurus, the Pteranodon. Yeah, the Velociraptor. Everyone knows the Velociraptor. Oh man, I can't pronounce words. First one, the Dime one, that's a swimming beast, and the Pteranodon is a flying beast. Flying dinosaur.
To the dinosaur nerd in me, that makes complete sense.
Yeah, 100%. So, like, we haven't dealt with flying yet in Roll20, which is a bit of a challenge, but, like, the Pteranodon's pretty cool. But, I mean, the Velociraptor is, it's classic, right?
Yeah, no, 100%. But I think this is going to be a fun one. You got to find some cool minis. You have to find historically or prehistorically accurate Roll20 minis for this. So you can head there.
Oh, I'm seeing some results coming already. Velocirapter taking an early
You're not
lead,
supposed to release the election results before everyone's voted.
I got so excited.
Yeah. I knew who was going to win before this. So that's going to be up all week. We are going to end it just before the show next week, just like we did tonight. And you guys will have a say in what we play next week. So make sure you go ahead and do that. If you can't do it right now because you're on your phone or you're listening or, jogging and listen to us, I don't know, sure. However you're listening to us, if you can't go there, it is on all of our social media channels. At any point in time in our chat, even when we're not live, you can come in here and type !social, and you will see all of our social media. You'll get all the links to our social media chats. Thank you very much.
Thanks for the sub.
Thanks, Leah. We've got emote fireworks in the channel.
Cool.
That's fun and exciting.
That is so fun and exciting.
We're experiencing all this for the first time. This is awesome. We only just became, for anybody that wasn't here earlier, we just hit affiliate status on Thursday. Our first stream was on September 3rd. So 23. Woo!
Yay! It's the love of my life there, folks. That also means, anyway. Cool.
We appreciate your subs 100%. Speaking of subs, we are going to do this. So this is the episode. We are going to do an after show, Hops and Dragons After Hours. Mm-hmm. Just like any good bar, they stay open after hours to serve up the good stuff. So we'll go down through chat, answer a few questions, and we will also, like we mentioned before, we are going to be giving away a sub. Just like in D&D, you roll for it, highest roll wins. So, anything else? You got anything else to say?
No, that's all.
Cool.
This brings us to the end of our official episode.
But like I said, stick around.
Stick around. So what do we have coming up? I think this Sunday coming. we're going to do some Baldur's Gate 3 hype.
Yep.
Which is getting released on October 6th. So come hang out with us on Sunday at 7 p.m. Newfoundland Standard Time, 5:30 Eastern Time. We're going to watch some cinematics and talk about Baldur's Gate 3 a bit. Talk about what kind of characters we're going to make for our first run through the early access. And then on next Thursday, instead of an episode like this, we're going to play the game, which is going to be awesome.
Yeah.
I'm very excited to have a first run through this game.
Super stoked. So we'll probably be playing it for the first time with you guys because it literally comes out like the day before.
Day before. So, which is a good point, though. Sierra Monster Battle, that poll will be open until 5 p.m. the day of our next episode, which is in 2 weeks.
Good call.
Because next week there won't be a Monster Battle.
We're good at this
planning. Lots
planning
of time to think about those dinosaurs.
That's right. Cool. All right. You want to hit the intro and head over to After Hours?
Yes.
Intro.
I need to pee.
By intro, I mean outro.
Yeah. So everybody, thanks for listening.
Make sure that you follow us, Hops and Dragons, on Twitter, Twitch, here on Twitch, if you haven't already. You can head to our YouTube. We do post all of our videos up on YouTube afterwards. And you can check us out on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram for even more. You can jump into our Discord, which just launched really fully today. Lots of cool stuff in there. All the things that we talked about tonight, all the resources and everything are going to be in there. We have D&D news and everything as well. It is already starting out to be a pretty cool community in there for you guys and everybody else that has joined. So yeah, just give us a like or a follow somewhere if you want to see more of the content, the supplementary resources.
Yeah. And as always, guys, don't forget to drink responsibly.
And may all your rolls be nat 20s. Cheers.
Cheers. All right, Paul, it's time for your turn to be yeah, you gotta entertain people. I gotta pee.
I'm gonna be the pee host.